Welcome to East Alabama Today, featuring topics, events, and interesting people from all over East Alabama. Hosted by Carl Brady. Now, let's get right to the show. Here's Carl Brady.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into East Alabama Today. I'm Carl Brady. Thank you for being with us on our program today. As always, we'll get you started off with a little contact information, let you know how to get in touch with us. If you have an idea for the program, we would love to hear from you. And the best way to do that is to send me an email, cbrady@tv24.tv. That is the email address you need to use. If you have something going on in your community with your charity organization, your civic club, your church, just a community get-together, anything happening like that, we would love to hear from you. You guys are our eyes and ears out on the street here in East Alabama, and we can't be everywhere in our Knighton County coverage area, so we rely on you to let me know exactly what's going on and what's happening in your neighborhood and your neck of the woods. So send me those emails again, cbrady@tv24.tv. Now remember as well, we are looking for interesting people who live in the community. Maybe you know someone that's a writer, an artist, or a musician. Maybe they have an odd or interesting hobby and you think they'd be a great guest for the program. Well, those are exactly the kind of people that we're looking for. So you can send me information about those folks that you know, again, at the email address, cbrady@tv24.tv. And remember, if you ever want to go back and review some information, if you miss a show, you just want to go back and watch it again, you can do that online on our website, tv24.tv. Go to the on-demand section and go down to East Alabama Today, and there you'll find a whole series of recent East Alabama Today shows that you can watch at your convenience on your computer, your laptop, your tablet, even on your phone. So you can go do that at tv24.tv. We'll be back in just a moment with today's show, so thanks for coming out, and we'll be back to get started in just a minute. Hello again. Welcome back into East Alabama Today. I'm Carl Brady, and today we're going to be talking about a local ministry called A Day of New Beginnings. And we have with us today the director of that ministry, Deb Hood. Deb, welcome to the program.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Great to have you on and for us to learn more about a Day of New Beginnings. And the timing works out just right because I know by the time this airs, we'll be getting really close to the 5th anniversary of your ministry. Is that right? That's correct.
October the 15th.
Mm-hmm. So October the 15th of 2010 is when you got all this launched. I'm sure it took a lot of work working up to that launch date. But let's just talk first off, before we get into all the details, what is A Day of New Beginnings?
Okay, Day of New Beginnings is a transitional home for ladies who have been incarcerated that don't have another place to go. Usually they've burned all their bridges, their family members don't trust them, and they just don't have a place to go. And of course, if you've been incarcerated and you're coming out, you have absolutely nothing. Usually just the clothes on their back is what they come with us with. And so, of course, not having a job and not having a vehicle, it's hard to get started. And so we provide a place for them. We provide shelter and clothing, food. We also help them to get an education, whether it be GED or maybe some skills training. We also help them to get eyeglasses and a few dental procedures done. And we just try to get them up to par, and we have about 13 classes that they do there at the home to try to get them back out into society. And so we just work with them and try to get them back out there on their feet and get them going.
What was your inspiration for starting this ministry? How did the calling come to work with women who are in that transitional phase?
Well, you know, years ago, I just didn't think that would be something for me, but my husband had built Brown Avenue Baptist Church, and the pastor there left in 2006, and I was just crying out to the Lord, you know, what should I do with these buildings, because my husband passed in 2007. And I inherited them, and another church did come in for a while, but God just spoke to me and just said, you know, I want a transitional home there. And I thought that he was saying to me that he wanted me to get the buildings ready, because they had to be up to code and inspection for the city and the state. And so I just worked for 3 years trying to get those buildings up and going, and I didn't have any idea he was going to put me there, because I am so ignorant to everything, and I didn't know a lot, and I just thought that, well, he wants me to do all the legwork, get the buildings going, the paperwork, make sure everything is in order, and then he was going to send somebody that knew what they were doing over there. But I was, when I received my first girl, October the 15th, of 10, I went over there with her, and I realized I was it. I realized nobody was going to come and rescue me. And so I called a friend of mine, and I said, actually she was on my board, and I said, would you come and stay with her just for a little while till I go back home and get some things? And she said yes, and so I've been there 5 years. I live there 24/7, and
wow.
And so I still have my home in Southside, and one of my girls actually lives in my home there. She graduated in 2011 from our program, and she's doing very well, and she lives in my home in Southside, and I'm very proud of her. And so that's basically how it got started. So,
how do the women find their way into your program? Is it court referrals or just personal referrals? How do they, when they're going to be released from their sentence and they know they have nowhere else to go, how do they find you?
Well, I used to go into the jails and the prisons and talk about the program a little bit until the word got out there, and now it's just by word of mouth. Some of the girls will just say, well, I heard about this program or that program, and then they will write to us, or sometimes they'll have their relatives to call us and say, could you please send them an application? And we do that, and then we look over their application, because not everybody is meant for a day of new beginnings. We're not a rehab. We don't staff a nurse. Matter of fact, all of our employees are free. Everybody works free. Nobody gets paid for anything.
Everybody's volunteers.
Yes, and so we just look over the applications, and if we feel like that they're that their needs would be better with someone else, then we just write them and say, you know, we recommend this place for you, and if it's someone that we think that we can interview, or that, you know, because we're kind of, you're not real sure, and we can go in and interview them, sometimes we do that. Otherwise, we just pray about it, and we just see what God wants us to do, and we write them an acceptance letter, and then we ask them to please call us to pick them up. I ask them not to let someone else pick them up, because I don't want to take a chance on them getting back out there and doing something crazy before they come into the home.
Right. You can have direct contact with them as soon as they're released, bring them right straight into the program.
Right.
The program lasts 8 months. Is that it? Once a girl comes to you, they're there for 8 months.
They are there for 8 months if they choose to be. Now, we've had 21 girls actually in the home, but only 7 of them have graduated. Not everybody is ready to give up the addiction, and unfortunately, statistics says 1 out of 10 makes it. Of course, we're doing much better than that, thanks to the good Lord. I mean, it's all His success, and we give Him all the glory and all the credit for that. But we have had 1/3 of our girls to graduate, and we have about 6 of those who are doing really well. And so we're beating statistics, obviously. They can stay up to 8 months if they like, but if at the end of 8 months, if they're not ready to go, they can stay longer, and they have.
While they're there, what is the routine, the procedure? Is it complete freedom to come and go as they choose, or as they please? How does that part of it work?
Okay, we have an exercise program, and we have Bible study twice a day, and they have 13 classes that they do, like anger management, self-esteem, and we even do battlefield of the mind, and some different classes, 12-step. We also, they are required to go to Celebrate Recovery, and we also have a Celebrate Recovery every Thursday at our home for women on the outside that would like to come in. It's at 10 o'clock on Thursdays, and we have a free lunch for them if they would like to come. And we also do community service work. I tell the girls, this home may be free to you, but it costs us somebody. So we give back out into society. We have been known to paint houses. We've been known to work on a horse farm and clean out stalls before, as well as the soup kitchens and the clothes closets, the food pantries, and we've even worked at waitresses before. There was a gentleman who was from India, and they were giving him a banquet to make up money for his ministry, and they didn't have any waitresses, so we put on our black pants and our white shirts and we went and waitressed for them. So we do a lot of fun things, but we do some things that are not so fun, but I get in there with them too. I don't just say, you know, you've got to paint a house and I don't paint. I get in there and I work with them.
How many can you serve at one time? How many women can live in the home at a given time?
Okay, well, we have 4 beds, but I also have a couch that can make into a bed, so I could, if I have a girl that's getting ready to leave like in 2 or 3 weeks and another one's coming in and has to come in before that, we can carry an overload, but I try not to do that. And to be honest with you, I'd rather just have 2 at a time. You get a lot of different personalities going on, and
right.
and also the fact is, if you have just 2 girls, you can work closer with them and meet their needs better, because we only have visitation twice a month, and sometimes their families, they can't come to visitation, and I don't just. We do a lot of fun things. It's not just a keep their nose to the grindstone type thing. So if their family can't come to them, a lot of times I'll carry them to their family for visits. And matter of fact, one of my young ladies, her grandparents were in Florida, and they had helped raise her, and she wanted to see her grandparents. She hadn't seen them in about 5 years because she had been at Tuckweiler all this time. And so I said, well, let's see if we can't work out something. So we met her grandparents in Montgomery, and we actually ended up spending the night, and the girls had a great time because not only did she get to see her grandparents, the girls got to swim in the swimming pool. So we have a lot of fun too. You know, we go to movies and eat out and have movie night there at the home. So it's not just, you know, you got to do this particular thing all the time, but
you keep referring to the women that you're working with as girls.
Yes.
What is the average age of the women who come through there? Is it a big difference? Are they mostly young? Talk about that.
Well, the youngest that I've had is 18, and the oldest that I've had is 52. Actually, I've had 2 women that were 52, and yes, I call them girls, but so they average mostly maybe in their 30s, I would say. 30s, 40s is probably about the average, but the youngest has been 18 and the oldest has been 52.
Are there, you talk about the scheduling and visitation, when you can have visitation a couple times, those kind of things. Are those house rules, or is that part of some sort of state organization requirements to operate one of these homes?
No, it's our rules because we have so much going on, and we just feel like that, and a lot of the girls come from addicted behavior families, and the families, sometimes we just have to watch them, make sure that they don't bring in anything in, and it's hard sometimes for us to schedule a visitation, so we just decided that we would just make it twice a month on Sundays and for 2 hours, and that's not a lot of time, but we expect them, you know, to spend that quality time with their children if they have children, and it's not just that, you know, if I feel like the girl is doing well and she needs to visit with her family, especially at holidays, if it's a safe environment for her to go into, I don't mind her going there to visit during the holidays. Now, we don't allow them to spend the night, but because I want to know what they're doing. Of course, I can't watch them 24/7, but I just want to make sure that there's no one that's trying to maybe offer them drugs or alcohol or get them back out there, because we're trying to overcome an addiction here, and So we have to fight the devil no matter which way we go.
Right, right. Well, we need to take a commercial break, so let's do that, and we'll be back in just a moment as we continue talking about the local ministry called A Day of New Beginnings. We'll be back in a minute. Well, we welcome you back into East Alabama today. We're talking with Deb Hood about her ministry called A Day of New Beginnings. It is a transitional home for women who are coming out of jail or prison who have nowhere else to go, and they come to you, and you provide them a place to live and opportunity to get back on their feet in a positive way and maybe stay out of the life they were in beforehand. You mentioned the application process of filling out an application. What are some of the things you look for? I know you require them to be drug and alcohol free, but do you look into why they were in jail in the first place, personality, violent proclivities, or anything like that?
I do, and we don't really discriminate against, like if it's a violent crime versus a drug addiction. We don't really discriminate against that, but if it's someone that we think that we can't help, I do recommend them to go somewhere else. So yes, I do look to see why they have been put there, and because not everybody is honest, and if we feel like they're not being honest with us, then that's a big sign right there that they're not ready. Because a lot of them will say, well, it wasn't my fault, I was just in the car with this person. And so if they're not ready to admit to their guilt and what they have done, that's a big flag for us. Also, we're not a rehab. I do not staff a nurse. So we used to take people on medication, but we just can't afford to buy people's medicines.
Right,
and then,
it's so expensive.
Right, and then on top of that, trying to monitor all those medicines. And if they forget to ask, then, you know, a staff member, they can't remember what time they're supposed to have them. So we have, in the past few months, started rejecting people that are on medications, not because we don't really want them, it's just that we can't help them. And so we do recommend them for other places. So there's just a variety of things like that that we do look for.
And I think I saw that you require, especially I would guess Etowah County, girls who are coming through the Etowah County Detention Center. I know Chief Hassel very well, and then the Substance Abuse Prevention Program, the SAP program over there, and you require them to go through that program. Is that
well,
correct?
We did at first. We started, we said that we were just going to take the girls out of the SAP program because we feel like if they've gone through that substance abuse program, that
they've got a really good basis for changing their lives.
Exactly, exactly. And we thought maybe that would be the #1 thing for us, but we just found so many that needed a place to go till we just said, well, we're just going to look and see maybe there may be somebody that hasn't gone through the SAP program that we can help. And so, and we have helped people who have not been through the SAP program and been very successful. So I think God's just maybe just laying it on our hearts to help different ones at this time. But that was our main goal at the first, was to take those from the SAP.
Do you mainly work with local women, or just anybody? You know, if they're coming from the Etowah County Jail, more than likely they're local. But you know, from DeKalb County, Calhoun County, Cherokee County, do you work in a wide area?
We do. We have them from the Montgomery Women's Facility, Tuckweiler, Coleman County. So just different places that they come from.
Now, donations and volunteers. What can people in the community do to help you keep this ministry going and to help it to grow, to help as many women as possible? Well,
people ask me who donate, and I say people who want to be blessed, because we're a Matthew 25. You know, Jesus said for us to feed the hungry, to shelter the homeless, to clothe the naked, to visit those in prison, and that's exactly what A Day of New Beginnings does. And by people donating to us, they're doing that indirectly as we're doing it directly. And so they're being a Matthew 25 as well. I just tell people the main thing that I need is a lot of prayer. because I believe in prayer. I believe that it works, and I just need for them to really pray for the girls that they'll be successful and be great overcomers, and that they'll want to know the Lord themselves. We feel like, since we are faith-based, we feel like that if they get the heart lined up with the Lord, everything else is going to be lined up. And when the girls come, as I told you earlier, we do Bible study twice a day, but they also have to learn over 100 memory verses. Now I say they have to learn, some of them don't apply themselves, but, if they learn these memory verses, they're things that they can use against Satan when he tries to attack them. We know that Jesus, when the devil came towards him, what did he do? He spoke the scripture. And so we tell the girls, we give them scriptures to speak towards the devil, and then we give them also things that they can do to be able to overcome. It's been said that a craving lasts 5 to 15 minutes. Of course, I've never had an addictive behavior as far as alcohol and drugs goes, so I don't really know that craving.
Depends if you count M&Ms for me.
Yeah, that's why I said drugs, because I got food behavior. Okay, and so with those things, we just have to fight against, and so we just tell the girls how to do that. These are scriptures; they're not just little poems or something that they have to learn just to be learning. So,
but if a church group, a Sunday school class, or an organization wants to help out, you do need money to pay the bills, and
we do.
You do need toiletries and things like that, because you provide all this to the women for free. You're not charging them to be there.
Right.
So all of the food, toiletries, things like that, all that comes from donated funds or donated items.
Right, and we appreciate all that. We have people who do donate food and clothes, and God's so good to us. He provides our every need. Like a girl just a few weeks ago, she said she needed some makeup, and the Avon lady came and she brought a box, and it had all kinds of makeup in it, and I said, Lord, you're so good, and He provides for us. And also, let me tell you this too, they don't just stay there for 8 months and not work. After the first 2 months, we try to find them a job. We do job readiness and resumes, and we put them into the workforce, and they have to save at least 60% of their income. And they have to, sometimes have to pay fines and restitutions while they're there. But this 60%, they can buy them a car, get their driver's license back, and then they save up money, to get them a place, and they move into apartments, they move into houses, and they pay cash for their cars. They feel good about themselves. They've told me, hey, this is the first time I've ever bought myself anything, and they feel really good when they can pay cash for a car.
Right.
And of course, it's not a new car, but it's new to them, and they feel good about themselves because they were able to do that.
Absolutely. Well, we need to take another quick commercial break, so we'll come back with one last quick wrap-up segment in just a moment. So stay with us. Well, our final segment with Deb Hood of a New Beginnings, a Day of New Beginnings ministry, a transitional home for women who are transitioning from prison or jail back into the world. And Deb, how do people get in touch with you if they know someone who needs your assistance, or if they want to provide some assistance through volunteering or donating? What do people need to do?
Actually, the best way probably would be to just call us. The number is 256-467-4433, or my cell number is 256-399-6908.
Okay. And so that's just the best way to give you a call and find out what your needs are, and then you'll handle the rest of it.
That's correct.
All right, Deb, thank you so much for being on the show with us today. And folks, we thank you for being with us as well here on East Alabama Today. We will be back with you again next week. See you then.